I love the fact that we had 27 fast break points. We shot the three ball well, and just collectively as a team, our game plan discipline tonight was extremely high. And we want to, every game, give ourselves a chance to win it. And it's special when you can go out on the road and win games. It lets you know you have an opportunity to be in a really good team.
And understandably pleased, Willie Green, after the Pels beat the Raptors 139-98. That actually isn't even appropriate for me to say they beat the Raptors. That was the worst home loss in franchise history for the Toronto Raptors last night. Incredible. Antonio Daniels was there on the call with Joel Myers. AD, we appreciate the time, man. How are you?
I'm awesome, Matt. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing really well. In a game like that where there's so many superlatives, let me start by asking you what stands out the most. Where should the conversation start from last night?
Oh, man. I don't know. I don't know where the conversation should start. I don't know if it should start individually or collectively. When you're on a 3-game road trip, East Coast road trip, and you're playing teams that are undermanned, the most important thing is taking care of business. You know, you're playing a Toronto team without Scotty Barnes. You're playing a Philly team without Joel Embiid. You're playing an Atlanta team without Trey Young. So I think your mindset and just the way that you can gain ground by going 3-0 on this road trip, like every game carries an incredible amount of significance. And just the fact that they went in, like you just said, Matt, that's just the worst loss in Toronto Raptors franchise history. Like that says a lot about the focus of this team.
Go back to mindset for a second there. And I don't always like to ask a lot of abstract questions, but you played the game obviously for a long time, so I can ask you this, and I think it's appropriate. What is it like, AD, mental? I think that's what you're getting at there, is like, if you know they don't have Scotty Barnes, or you're playing Phil and you know they don't have Embiid.
It's hard.
It's like a letdown?
Yeah, like it's hard. Like yesterday, my key to the game was human nature. Because what human nature tells you is like, you know what, I don't have to be at my best, or we don't have to be at our best if we can still win. And then next thing you know, it's 2 minutes to go in the game and the score's tied. So I think that the thing that you're fighting more than anything else is human nature. Like you hear it all the time. Basketball is not played on paper. It's not. Like you have to actually go out between the 4 lines and actually beat an undermanned team. And they did that yesterday. And for me, the mindset started back in Indiana, though. When we got to Indiana at 6 o'clock in the morning because our plane was messed up, and on a back-to-back after beating Nick and B.I. and Zion and Trey and DJ were all made available, I think that speaks to how important the rest of the season is and the mindset that guys have now, as opposed to maybe in November or in October or in December. It's go time.
Man, they're leading the division right now by 3 games. I know the talking heads necessarily don't mean a lot, but it was interesting. You know, Big Perk today on Pat McAfee's show said the Pels were his West sleeper team.
Dark horse.
Do you what is possible for this team, AD?
I don't know. If we're talking whole and healthy, the sky's the limit. And you know why, though? And for me, it's not really just about the Pelicans. It's about the rest of the Western Conference. It's a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. Like Denver right now, they're a good team, obviously. They're the reigning NBA champions, but they're not who they were last year either, right? They don't have Bruce Brown coming off the bench. They don't have Jeff Green coming off the bench. They don't have the depth and versatility that they had last year. So there are so many teams that have questions. Phoenix hasn't been healthy all year. Bradley Beal's been out, or Devin Booker's been out. You know, they made a lot of changes. So you can go to Oklahoma City, young team. We know young teams don't win in the postseason. Minnesota, younger team. We know young teams don't win in the postseason. So the thing that kind of stands out to me is the fact that the Western Conference is so open. Like it's actually like that's what's intriguing for me. It's not, you know, the Golden State Warriors and they have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Kevin Durant and those guys. You know, right now the West is so open, and it's for the taking for the team that peaks at the right time of the season.
Antonio Daniels is with us. Team's in Philly right now. By the way, do me a favor and flick Todd Graffinini in the back of his ear. Just reach ahead in the seat and just.
He's literally sitting in the seat right in front of me. I just did. He's literally sitting. He's sitting in the seat right in front of me.
He just texted me in the middle of the interview saying, I'm literally sitting one row ahead of AD while he's doing this interview. Yes, please just flick him on the back of the ear. Tell him Tulane stinks or whatever you need to. That would be great. Antonio Daniels with us here. Good enough to join us on as the team has landed in Philly, heading to the hotel. Let me ask you about Trey. A career best last night with 10 threes. His emergence, I'm going to ask a very obvious question, but I'm hoping you could just take it and elaborate. How important has his growth and emergence as a player been for this team this year?
He's a difference maker. Like, he really is a difference maker. And I don't even know how to put it into words. Because when he is playing like that, he gives this team another star power player. Like, when you start getting into the postseason, the game slows down. It becomes more about half-court execution. Teams are really good at scheming and taking away whatever it is that you do well. So you know what they're going to do. They're going to try at all costs. They're going to sell out for Zion. They're going to build a wall against Zion. They're going to build a wall against Brandon Ingram. So you have to surround those guys with shooting. So that's where the emergence of Trey and the emergence of Herb Jones, who was on the cusp of the 50, 40, 90 season, that's why they're so important. You know, we spend so much time talking about stars and how important stars are. But the thing is, stars can't be stars without role players that are willing to embrace their role. You know, Trey Murphy's ability to stretch the floor, not to the three-point line, but 4 or 5 feet beyond the three-point line, it becomes a pick-your-poison offense. You're going to give something up. You're going to give Zion a driving angle. You're going to give B.I. a driving angle. Or you're going to build a wall and give these guys wide-open three-point shots.
AD, there's 20 games to go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if as a player you would have ever talked about this or if coaches ever talk about it, but do you ever discuss math? Like, okay, with 20 to go at 37 and 25, what does your record need to be in the next 20 to solidify yourself a top 6, something like that? Like, is that a conversation that happens?
No, because you don't know. You have no idea. Like, I mean, you would love to say you go 13 and 7 in these last 20 games, and that gets you to 50 wins. But again, the Western Conference is so incredibly deep that what does 50 wins guarantee you? Right now, it doesn't guarantee you anything because no one knows. We don't know what the Lakers are going to do. We don't know what Golden State's going to do. We don't know what Sacramento is going to do. We don't know what Dallas is going to do. And those are the 4 teams that are in the play-in tournament right now. So the thing is, you have to control the controllable, you know. And I know it sounds so cliche-ish, but you really do have to take it one game at a time. Like, you don't want to start looking ahead the next week when you have Cleveland and the Clippers and, you know, Portland on the back-to-back. Like, that's for us to do as analysts. Mm-hmm. But as players, you have to take, like, it's about winning the games you're supposed to win against sub-500 teams and teams that are undermanned. It's about taking care of those wins.
Team obviously has a couple of days off before, you know, the next one, the one game at a time, is Philly coming up in a couple of days. If you would, before you go, maybe a thumbnail on that game and how it looks with Philly not having Joel Embiid.
You know what's weird is I don't think we know yet because Therese Maxey, right, who to me is probably the league's most improved player this year, he went home on the trip with the concussion protocol. So now, obviously, he makes a difference. If they have him, they have a more legitimate chance. But the thing that Philly's good at right now, they beat you with balance, right? Even with no Joel Embiid, right? It's not just Therese Maxey, right? They have Tobias Harris, who's one of the most underrated players in the league. They have Kyle Lowry, right? An NBA vet. You know, they have Kelly Oubre coming off the bench. Paul Reed's done a fantastic job filling in for Joel Embiid. So it's not like it's Joel Embiid or bust. You know, and with all due respect to the Toronto Raptors, the Philadelphia 76ers without Joel Embiid have a much more talented roster than the Toronto Raptors do. So this is not one of those games where you can come in and think, you know what, let's just show up and do what we get against Toronto. No, they have seasoned vets that have been in this position, that have been in this situation before.
The one and only Antonio Daniels. AD, you're the best, man, especially on the bus. We appreciate you for taking a couple of minutes to join us, man. Thank you as always. Safe travels.
For sure, man. Anytime, brother.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.